Hi, I'm Eileen Dillon, MSW, and the title of my talk today is Empowerment and Health Through Anger Realignment. If you had told me back in 1972 that my husband deciding to leave me and our toddler and file for divorce would be one of the greatest gifts anyone has ever given me, I would have wanted to tear you to pieces. That's because in the instant he told me his decision, I discovered that I was a very, very angry person and had not been aware of it. Anger began pouring out of me, spreading its negativity and pain across our lives. I knew I could not do this to my precious child. What is anger? I asked. What is it for? Why do we have it? And most important for that time, what can I do about it? By then, I was already a licensed psychotherapist, so I went back to my alma mater, the University of California at Berkeley, California, to get the reference librarians to help me find answers to my questions. And guess what? There were none. It seems social science researchers at that time didn't study emotions on a standalone basis. They only looked at anger or fear as part of psychiatric diagnoses. As a therapist, you had to work with emotions, but no one had yet looked into the questions I was asking. And that's what started my quest for answers about anger. It took me nearly 20 years of individual, group psychotherapy, spiritual awareness classes, reading, Aikido, and working with myself and my clients to find those answers. During that time, I progressed from being a very angry person to a recovering angry person to what I am today, a recovered angry person. Along the way, hundreds of clients who opted to experiment with what I was finding and then use it, and me, we realigned our relationship with anger. We put ourselves in charge of anger. And thousands more read my books, heard my international speeches. They heard me on webinars and on my podcasts. And our lives transformed, and they stayed transformed. I know this because when COVID-19 hit, people started looking me up on the internet asking for checkup visits. Some of them I had worked with nearly 45 years previously. And while meeting on Zoom, I discovered that what they had learned about working with emotions was still working well. They had come back to address new issues. This new way of working with emotions that I'm telling you about is powerful, effective, and once it's in place, it can last for the rest of your life. Now, it's no secret that we are in times of incredible change. You know that better than most. The change is, in my learning, an intense spiritual change that involves an increase in emphasis on the divine feminine, dropping out old thought and behavior patterns, and spiritual transformation that ushers us into our energy bodies and into the fifth dimension. We're all moving in that direction, yet it seems to many that the world is actually going to hell in a handbasket. Well, in ways it is, and then again, it isn't. As a psychotherapist, I have learned that before an individual can make real change, she must fall apart. The old ways of looking at things and behaving must break apart in order to make way for the new. And that's the same thing we are doing individually and societally as part of this change. We are falling and breaking apart to make room for the new. And we, you and me, we get to be the forefront of bringing us to the new. Leaving aside the question of whether we can get there, and of course we can, there is the question of how. My answer is this: through using tools that are already with us 24/7, 365 for our entire lives. Emotions. Partnering with and mastering our relationship with emotions is the fastest route we have for moving into our energy bodies and into the fifth dimension. But we are going to have to understand more about why we have emotions, how they work, and how to work with them. We need to update our ideas about emotions and our relationship with them. This means realigning ourselves and our lives with emotions. Let's use anger to illustrate what I'm talking about. Anger is running amok on our planet. People are killing one another on small, medium, and giant size levels. People are manipulating one another mercilessly, which brings out a huge amount of anger. There are so many daily examples each of us can think of, even including people exploding in anger when another driver cuts in front of them on the freeway. Continually getting angry about a common experience that we cannot change is the kind of craziness I want to end. How do we make these changes? How do we make sense of everything? Well, I have come to see our world as a giant school. We've all come here to learn and grow, and we learn by having experiences. And experiences bring up emotions. What do you think we could possibly be trying to teach ourselves by the experience of all this anger run amok? This is an experience, it's an opportunity to learn. My answer is that all this anger is telling us we need to learn more about what anger is, why we have it, how it works, and how we can work with it to become its master instead of continuing to allow anger to tyrannize us and our world. When we are able to do this, we will not only empower ourselves over emotions that may currently be undermining us in our lives, but we will also streamline those lives by actually completing the lessons we need to learn. And the instant we complete the lessons, they are over. But people don't like to change. Take a person who keeps marrying the same individual in a different body and with different colored eyes, but with the same issues. People will stay in painful, repeating situations rather than actually make change. We can't keep doing that. We don't have to learn the lessons of our experience, but I've noticed that once a lesson has been brought to our attention, the universe keeps presenting it over and over again, and each successive presentation is more painful than the last. I've decided that's Mother Nature's way of prodding us. She really does want us to learn. If you are ready to realign your relationship with anger, type "I'm ready" in the chat. Commit to empowering yourself right now by moving your whole self ahead with the help of anger and other emotions. Now, before we get into the how, let me point out that we're not talking about anger itself as the problem. It is repressed anger, the anger we hold inside ourselves that foments problems. Most of us have been taught to hold on to anger. It's the worst thing we can do with anger. Anger poisons the vessel in which it is held, an old saying. We now have research that shows that repressed anger changes how we perceive things, leading to all kinds of mental health problems like paranoia, lowered self-esteem, and blockage of our success. We also now have research evidence that repressed anger is one of the causative factors in the development of diabetes, heart and circulatory diseases, and cancer. Repressed anger even plays a role in the development of cancer once it is established in our body. What this tells us is that everyday repressed anger is destructive in our lives. and it contributes to the development of killer diseases. That means that repressed anger is literally killing us, and we have not even been aware of this danger. With this evidence, as well as the effects of anger running amok in the world, I'm sure you will agree with me that we need to understand, work with, and change our relationship with anger. Anger we hold on to moves constantly, searching for and attacking our weak points inside of us in its efforts to escape. Knowing this, it is evident we need to realign with anger. We need better ways to work with anger, empowering ourselves to work with anger, assisting it with its real purpose. Emotions are given to us as tools to help us navigate better lives. It is time to work with anger the way it actually operates, freeing us to create lives we love. Well, I'm not really known for being patient. When I started learning about how emotions are designed to work, I wanted to find ways to work with anger so they didn't necessitate me going over and over the same kinds of situations, continually having to calm and center myself because of anger I was experiencing. Only to discover, of course, that I needed to do it over again on another day because I hadn't resolved the cause of that anger. I also did not want to conquer anger by having to use my thinking brain at all at the same time I was feeling angry. It was too complicated. I sought to figure out what I could do to get finished with something I was angry about so I could go on to other things. And I did. Here's the lowdown. Number one, emotions are energy. We call them energy in motion, emotions. Now, this is great news because most of us already know a lot about energy. We know we cannot create or destroy it, that it needs to move, and that one form of energy can transform into another form of energy. And where anger is concerned, it means we can't get rid of anger. Anger needs to move, and anger can be transformed into something else. 2. When anger shows up as part of our experience, it is trying to help us decode that experience, figure out the lesson, learn the lesson, so we can release it along with anger's energy. That is when we can move on. 3. Anger's message to us is twofold. A, you have incorrect ideas or beliefs about how things are supposed to work in the world. Change these. And B, take action. 4, other people do not cause us to become angry. They may be a catalyst, but we feel angry because of our own ideas about how things are supposed to work. And when they aren't being upheld, we feel angry. In short, we make our own selves angry. This is vital to know because it means that we do not need others to change in order to resolve anger that we are experiencing. 5. Anger, and all emotions, is designed to do a caring and positive job to help us better navigate our own lives, to figure out what our experiences are attempting to bring to our attention so we can learn the lessons they hold and release the energy that will otherwise pile up in us and create problems. When I tell people I'm a recovered angry person, they laugh. People don't seem to believe that it's possible to recover from being angry fully. When I tell people that working with anger is simple, they also don't believe me, or they discount what I'm saying. I want you to know that not only is it possible to recover from holding anger inside, but you can accomplish it in your daily life through simple actions. Attending this talk, you are now in the forefront of emotional mastery and realignment, which we are all being called on to do now. But if we don't take over the reins and get in charge of this horse that is currently running away with us, individually and worldwide, we might not make it. The easiest way to step into our energy bodies is to take ourselves there through the vehicle of energy. And that is, energy is available to us every day in emotions. You can attain personal mastery with anger, and then it will be up to you to make it work, and you'll find out how simple that is. So I invite you to commit today to begin your journey to master anger, to realign with it so you can work with anger the way it's designed to serve us. Anger is not a negative emotion any more than water is innately negative. Anger is a helper, showing up more and more often these days to urge us to examine what we believe, change it, and release the piled up repressed anger that almost all of us have amassed. Personally, I'm dedicating the next 2 decades of my life to bring our world into realignment with emotions, especially anger, which is the most active emotion we experience and which therefore causes the most harm for us and for our world. So I invite you, come and share with me the fabulous gift my young husband gave me more than 50 years ago when he walked out on me and our toddler. The gift of learning how to realign with emotions, including anger, and also the gift of becoming a recovered angry person. Please connect with me on Facebook, Emotional Mastery for Life. Ask me for your free gift, a list of 9 powerful sayings annotated that can assist you as you empower yourself by realigning with anger. On Facebook, I host dedicated groups for students learning this new way of working with emotions. Currently, I'm focused on realigning with anger. In coming months and years, I will be adding other master classes on the emotions of fear, loneliness, grief, depression, guilt, shame, and love. Please join me on this amazing and empowering adventure. Today, I am known as the Emotional Pro. We can never get rid of emotions. What we can do is reduce the backlog of held onto emotions like anger, a repressed emotion that has become a hidden killer. We can also reduce the amount of anger's energy we experience. In our daily lives, we can take anger down from this big to this big, having that much influence in our lives. And when anger does show up, we will know what to do to partner with it, how to learn the lesson of the anger we are feeling, how to learn and release that energy so we can go on to other things. I can now do that in about 5 minutes with most times that I notice anger. Instead of anger-filled experiences repeating and repeating, piling up pain, anger will be enabled by your personal empowerment to do its job and then move out of us and away from us. Powerful and painful problems we have needlessly wrestled with for a long time will reduce profoundly, amazingly, and for the rest of our lives. Remember this: when anger transforms, it transforms into enthusiasm. Realign yourself with anger for a healthier life filled with enthusiasm. Thank you.